So USAID-funded Internews CEO pushes for global advertising exclusion list to censor disinformation. This is a 28-second clip.
Like what they did to X.
Yeah, exactly.
Disinformation makes money, and that's one of the, we need to follow that money, and we need to work with in particularly the global advertising industry, that a lot of those dollars go to pretty bad content. And so you can work really hard on exclusion lists or inclusion lists to sort of really try to focus ad dollars and challenge the global advertising industry all around the world to focus their ad dollars towards the good news and information, the accurate and relevant news and information.
So this is USAID sponsoring both sides of this. She runs a $500 million mercenary media for hit piece for hire empire sponsored by USAID. USAID also gave $68 million to the World Economic Forum itself. And USAID's own internal documents show the explicit political targeting of these advertiser networks. Actually, before we get to that, just so I can close the loop on something that's a little bit more accessible and less political, Jamie, I texted you a screenshot of Internews in Brazil. And if one of them has at the top of it something called Rooted in Trust. So this is Internews with a worldwide media octopus sponsored $500 million a year, reaching 9,000 journalists, 5,000 media outlets. And here's what they were doing just on COVID censorship. So Rooted in Trust is a Internews program. It's a global pandemic information response program to counter the unprecedented scale and speed and spread of rumors and misinformation.
All of which turned out to be true.
All of which turned out to be true. Our own CIA says that. Our own House Oversight Committee says that now.
Every single step of the way. There's not one thing they said that turned out to be accurate. Not the death rate, not the ability to stop infections and transmissions, not the side effects, not the fact that natural immunity is far superior. None of the, nothing, not one thing, not the lab leak theory, nothing. Not even the funding of the research and the actual lab, which was also USAID, right?
Yes.
$50 million.
Right. From UC Davis to EcoHealth directly into, but because I always say when it's too dirty for the CIA, you give it to USAID, and that's why you have all this pandemic stuff, and maybe we can get to that later. But I wanted to show the scale of this. You sponsored your own state censorship. Rooted in Trust has tracked more than 19,000 rumors about the virus across 14 plus languages globally, over 81 million people. In response to the unique rumors sourced from each country context, this USAID-sponsored project has produced a total of over 130 rumor bulletins, 500 radio broadcasts, and 480 media stories through a series of training opportunities, events, peer-to-peer networks, and small grants. Rooted in Trust has supported 550 local media organizations in order to scan and ban the internet.
And more importantly, to connect communities directly with timely and accurate COVID-19 information, which all turned out to be lies.
I only had time before this to text one page of this. I mean, everyone should go through this document. I'll post on my X feed, and there's millions around this. I mean, the whole global coordination was done through USAID and the U.S. State Department and its partners in the UK and in NATO. And, the fact that these very organs are implicated in it, these strange DARPA grants around creating the gain of function, the USAID, grants that we're all jumping, animal to human, for these things, the presence of folks like Avril Haines, the deputy director of the CIA, and then director of national intelligence, at these censorship planning conferences for Event 201, the fact that state and DOD and the UK Foreign Office all funded all of the censorship organs like the Atlantic Council and Graphica and these others that we went over last time. They're the prime suspect for the crime, and they sponsor the entire white blood cell apparatus to swarm any kernel of truth penetrating the membrane in order to orchestrate the cover-up. So they're on both sides of it. And we can talk about more about the Internews work there, but
I want to This is the darkest of conspiracy theories. The darkest of conspiracy theories was that the leak was intentional. The darkest of conspiracy theories is that this was planned. They knew this is going to be a financial windfall. It is the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of the United States by far, from the working class to the elite. It's like $3+ trillion or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
We've already established that it was created in a lab. We already established that USAID funded it. We already established that Fauci et al. Lied about gain-of-function research, what they were doing. The worst theory possible is that this was released on purpose.
Yeah, that would be the worst case scenario. Yeah.
Have you ever danced that one around your head? Because that's where we know they're willing to do horrible, evil shit. But, like, is there a ceiling on that?
Even now to this day, having spent so much of my life in it, I try to just pursue the leads that I have and then try to let the conclusions come to me. Certainly the fact that they funded the capacity to do this, they work directly with all the networks that were both doing it and censoring it, puts you pretty much as, you know, they created it and they covered up at least the leak. In terms of the intentionality for doing it, that is a really dark scenario. You know, there are a lot of things in American history that have that same, you know, Miha-Liha distinction. You know, did they make it happen, or did they let it happen? Did they let it happen, or did they make it happen? And both of them are major scandals that completely change the legitimacy and credibility of policy changes in response to the crisis, for example.